future wife. If you had met me during my loneliest nights, you would seen a man pretending to smile, while secretly praying for a love he had never even touched before. Future wife. Before this world ever introduced us to each other. Before I ever heard your voice. Before I knew the color of your eyes or the sound of your laughter. Somehow, my heart was already searching for you. There were nights when I felt completely alone. Yet deep inside me, there was this quiet feeling that somewhere in this huge world, you existed, and honestly, that thought saved me more times than anyone will ever know. I loved you long before we ever met, not because I knew you, but because my soul recognized the emptiness that only your love could fill. Every heartbreak I survived, every lonely road I walked, every silent tear I hid from the world. That was preparing me to love you the right way. Maybe we were strangers in this life. My heart never treated you like one, and if destiny is real, then I believe every painful chapter of my life was simply leading me closer to you. So wherever you are right now, AB just wants you to know. Someone already loves you deeply, gently, and forever. Even before your hand ever touches mine. Future wife AB. Think the strangest thing about love is that sometimes your heart starts missing someone long before your eyes ever see them, before we ever met, before destiny finally decided to let our paths cross. There was already a quiet space inside me that belonged to you. And I know that sounds impossible. How can someone love a person they've never touched, never spoken to, never even seen? But some souls recognize each other before life makes the introduction. There were nights when I sat alone in complete silence. And somehow, in the middle of all that loneliness, I still felt connected to someone gentle, someone real, someone who would one day walk into my life and make all the pain I survived finally make sense. I think that person was always you. You know, life has a way of making people tired of disappointment, tired of temporary connections, tired of giving their heart to people who only know how to stay for a moment. And honestly, there were times I almost stopped believing in love completely. I smiled when people looked at me, AB acted strong when the world expected me to. Deep down, there were parts of me quietly breaking. Still, even during those broken moments, AB never stopped believing that somewhere in this world there was a woman whose love would feel different from everything else. Not perfect, not loud, not fake, just real. The kind of love that feels peaceful instead of confusing. The kind of love that doesn't disappear the moment life becomes difficult. The kind of love that makes two tired souls finally feel safe. And future wife. Even before I knew your name, I was already protecting my heart for you. Every heartbreak taught me how I should love you. Every lonely night taught me how important emotional presence really is. Every betrayal taught me the kind of pain I never want you to feel beside me. Maybe that's why I had to go through all those difficult seasons. Maybe life was not punishing me. Maybe it was preparing me. Preparing me to recognize you. Preparing me to value you. Preparing me to love you in the deepest and gentlest way possible, because real love is not built by perfect people, it's built by people who suffered, but still chose softness, and future wife AB chose softness for you. Even when the world tried to make me cold, even when pain tried to convince me that caring deeply was dangerous, even when loneliness wrapped around my life like darkness that refused to leave, I still protected the part of me that believes in love. I protected it because of you. There were moments when I would look at the sky late at night and wonder where you were. What kind of pain you were carrying, whether you were also pretending to be okay in front of people, while quietly fighting battles inside yourself. And honestly, AB, wish I could have reached you during those moments. I wish I could have told you that somewhere out there was already a heart praying for your happiness, before even hearing your voice. Because that's how deeply I felt connected to you. You became hope before you became reality, and maybe that's what makes this kind of love so rare. It's not based on appearance, it's not based on temporary feelings, it's based on something deeper. Something the soul understands before the mind does. Future wife. Before we ever met, I was already becoming the man I wanted you to deserve. A man who stays gentle during hard times, a man who listens carefully, a man who values loyalty, a man who never makes love feel like a game, because I know how painful it is to feel emotionally abandoned by people who promised forever. I never want your heart to feel that kind of loneliness with me. I want to become your peace. The world is already heavy enough. Life already hurts enough. People already disappoint enough. Love should not feel like another war. Love should feel like rest. And I think, before I even met you, my soul was already searching for that rest inside yours. Maybe that's why no temporary connection ever fully satisfied my heart. Maybe deep down, I knew they were not you. I was not waiting for perfection. I was waiting for honesty, for depth, for emotional safety. I was waiting for the kind of woman whose presence alone makes life feel softer. And future wife Abe, believe one day, when we finally sit together during a quiet evening, everything will make sense. All the waiting, all the heartbreak, all the lonely nights, all the moments we almost gave up on love. Because sometimes two people are separated by time. Not because they are not meant for each other, but because life is slowly shaping them into the people they need to become first. And maybe right now, while we are still strangers to each other, our souls are already moving closer with every difficult day we survive. Maybe every painful lesson is guiding us toward the same destination. Toward the same moment, the moment where two hearts finally realize they were loving each other long before they ever met. Future wife, Abby, think, one of the saddest things about life is how lonely a person can feel while standing in a room full of people. Sometimes you laugh with everyone else. You answer questions. You continue your responsibilities. You keep moving forward like nothing is wrong. But deep inside, your soul feels exhausted. I know that feeling very well. There were so many moments in my life when I felt emotionally invisible. Moments when I wanted someone to look into my eyes and quietly understand the pain I never spoke about. But, instead I learned how to carry everything alone. And maybe that loneliness was not meaningless after all. Maybe every empty night, every disappointment, every goodbye, every silent heartbreak, was secretly preparing my heart for you. Because pain changes people. Some people become colder after suffering, some stop believing in love completely, some build walls so high that nobody can ever reach them again. I almost became that person too. There were days when I told myself that love was dangerous. That trusting people only leads to disappointment. That opening your heart only gives the world another place to wound you. But even during my darkest moments, something inside me refused to die. Hope, yet, fragile, exhausted hope. And future wife Abby, think that hope survived because somewhere deep inside me, my soul already knew you existed. I didn't know your name, I didn't know your face, but somehow, I still felt connected to you. Like my heart was waiting for someone it had never met before. You know, loneliness teaches a person things nobody else can teach them. It teaches you how heavy silence can become. It teaches you how much emotional presence matters. It teaches you how deeply words can hurt when they come from people you trusted. But loneliness also teaches tenderness, because once you know what it feels like to cry alone, you never want the person you love to experience that same pain. And, future wife, that's why every lonely chapter of my life mattered. It taught me how to love you correctly. Every time life abandoned me emotionally, Abby learned how important consistency is. Every time someone misunderstood my heart, Abby learned how healing understanding can be. Every time I felt forgotten, Abby promised myself I would never make the woman I love feel invisible. Pain became my teacher, not because I wanted suffering, because suffering showed me the kind of love this world desperately needs more of. Gentle love, pot of love, save love, the kind of love that stays when life becomes difficult. Future wife, there were nights when I would sit alone and wonder why life kept testing my heart so much. Why did love always feel temporary? Why did people leave so easily? Why did sincerity feel so rare? And honestly, sometimes I became tired of pretending I was strong, because the truth is, even strong people want someone to hold them emotionally. Even strong people get tired of carrying everything alone. Even strong people secretly wish for a love that feels like peace instead of pain. I think I was searching for you long before I realized, just romantically, emotionally, I was searching for someone whose presence makes life feel softer, someone whose heart feels honest, someone whose loyalty feels calm instead of confusing, because disappointment. You stop chasing excitement, you start craving peace, and future wife, Abby, think, every painful experience in my life slowly taught me that real love is peaceful. It doesn't play games with your emotions. It doesn't disappear during difficult seasons. It doesn't make you question your worth every day. Real love protects. Real love listens. Real love stays gentle, even after arguments, stress, and hard moments. That's the kind of love my loneliness taught me to give. There were moments when I envied people who seemed happy so easily. People who had someone beside them during hard times. People who didn't have to carry the weight of life alone every night. Meanwhile, Abby became familiar with silence. I became familiar with pretending to be okay. I became familiar with looking strong while quietly falling apart inside. But maybe I needed those lonely seasons, because loneliness forced me to understand myself deeply. It forced me to confront my fears, my insecurities, my emotional wounds, and slowly, pain transformed me into someone more understanding, more patient, more compassionate. Because when you've suffered deeply, you stop judging people so quickly. You begin realizing that everyone is fighting battles nobody else can fully see. Maybe you are fighting your own battles right now too. Maybe while I was surviving my loneliness,
you were surviving yours.
Maybe there were nights when you also questioned whether genuine love still existed. Maybe there were moments when your heart became tired of disappointment too. And honestly, I wish I could have been there for you during those moments. I wish I could have reminded you that your softness is not weakness, that your emotional depth is not something to be ashamed of. That one day, someone would love you carefully instead of carelessly. Future wife. Before we ever met, life was already teaching me how precious love truly is, because when affection becomes rare in your life, you stop taking it for granted. You begin appreciating the little things. A sincere conversation, a calm presence, a gentle touch, someone asking if you are okay, and genuinely meaning it. Loneliness made me value emotional honesty in a way many people never understand. And because of that, no, I will never treat your heart casually. I know what emotional neglect feels like. I know how painful it is when someone stops trying. I know how exhausting it feels to love deeply while receiving confusion in return. That's why I want to become your safe place. Not just during beautiful moments, but during difficult ones too. I want to be the kind of man who still chooses you on hard days. The kind of man who communicates instead of disappearing. The kind of man who protects your heart instead of testing it. Because loneliness taught me something important. Life is already painful enough. Love should never become another source of suffering. Future wife, Abby, think one of the reasons I survived everything life put me through was because somewhere ahead of me, there was you. Even before we met, your existence gave meaning to my pain. Every heartbreak prepared me to appreciate genuine loyalty. Every betrayal taught me honesty. Every lonely night taught me emotional presence. Every difficult season shaped the way I will, one day, love you. And maybe that's why I no longer hate my past, because without those painful chapters, Abby would not have become the man capable of loving you this deeply. Pain changed my understanding of love completely. When I was younger, I thought love was only about feelings. Now I realize love is also about responsibility. It's about protecting someone's emotional peace. It's about choosing kindness, even during frustration. It's about making someone feel safe enough to be vulnerable without fear of judgment. And future wife. My lonely years taught me how valuable emotional safety truly is. I never want you to feel alone beside me. I never want your heart to beg for reassurance while I remain emotionally distant. I never want you to question whether you matter to me, because I know exactly how painful uncertainty feels. I know what it's like to love people who only stay halfway. That's why when I finally love you openly, Abby, want my love to feel steady, certain, comforting. Like home. You know something beautiful? Even during my worst moments, Abby still believed in tenderness. I still believed that somewhere in this world, there was someone whose heart would understand mine. That belief kept me alive emotionally, and I think that someone was always you. Future wife. Maybe all those lonely nights were never meant to destroy me. Maybe they were meant to deepen me. Maybe every painful experience was quietly teaching me how to become softer instead of colder, because the world already has enough emotionally unavailable people. What it needs more of is people who still choose love after pain, people who still choose kindness after disappointment, people who still believe in loyalty after betrayal. I want to be that kind of person for you. And one day, when life finally brings us together, I think we'll look at each other and silently understand something powerful. None of our pain was meaningless. Every lonely road we walked separately was shaping us into two people capable of loving each other properly. Every heartbreak was teaching us what real love should never feel like. Every difficult night was preparing our hearts to value peace more than temporary excitement. And maybe that's why our connection will feel different, because it won't be built on fantasy, it will be built on understanding, on patience, on emotional survival, on two souls who know exactly how painful loneliness can become, and therefore choose to love each other gently. Future wife, before I ever held your hand, life was already teaching me how carefully I should hold your heart.